Welcome back to Squawk Box. Rick Santelli here live on CME HQ with the breaking news of the morning. We have jobless claims, ECI, Employment Cost Index, and personal income and spending. Let's start with income. Remember, last month we took a ding, minus 0.4%. That was weakest going back to the fall of 21. Rebounding up 0.3, a tenth better than expected, and that would comp to, well, April, we were up 0.7. Now, let's look at personal spending, up 0.3, a tenth light, but a nice reversal before any revisions from the minus 0.1. Up 0.3 would comp to March when it was also up 0.7. Let's look at real spending, accounting for inflation, up 0.1 exactly as expected. Now let's get to the meat of the matter. PCE, okay, this is month over month, up 0.3 as expected, but that's still a couple of tenths warmer in the rearview mirror, up 0.3. That's the second highest of the year, even though it's the third month, meaning Jan and Feb were both up 0.4. Those are the high readings. This would be in second place, up 0.3, so it does comp to the beginning of the year. So even though it's gone up, we've been higher, but it's reversing a bit of a trend. Now let's look at the year-over-year numbers. 0.1 hotter, both rearview mirror and windshield. That's 2.8. That is the highest reading of the year. It equals March of 24. To find a higher read, you're moving into, yes, the fall of 23 when it was 3%. And if we look at the core month over month on the PCE, up 0.3, exactly as expected. And that would be the warmest since February when we were up 0.5%. And finally, year-over-year core, in my opinion, the most important number, that's 2.8. Also, just like the other year-over-year number, it's a little warmer than expected. 2.8 would be the warmest since February when it was 2.9. Now, let's look at the Employment Cost Index. You're expecting a number. This is the second quarter number. Up 0.8, comes in a tenth warmer, up 0.9. 0.9 would equal the second quarter of 24 to find a higher number. Here in the first quarter of 24 when it was 1%. Initial jobless claims, 218,000. Now that's a low number. We're expecting a number about 9,000 higher than that. 218,000 follows 217,000. These are awfully well-behaved numbers. And finally, continuing claims, another week above 1.9 million, 1,946,000, all congested. You know, I suspect that some upside pressure was there for some of the slightly hotter PCE numbers, but it also seems to be, to some extent, something to pay attention to, that the market did not really climb aggressively. We're up about a tenth, about 1 basis point in a 10-year at 434, but that's still down almost 3 basis points on the session. So even though these were a little warmer, once again, I always like to look at, there's both the trend direction of inflation, but there's also where we have been. And in every instance of higher than expected PCE, we have had higher numbers recently. Joe, back to you, buddy.